What's going on, everybody? My name is Blitzwinger, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Catwoman Catcycle chase. Welcome back to a brand new LEGO review right here on the Blitzwinger channel. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in to another one of these. Of course, I want to thank you guys for the response and the constructive criticism that you guys provided me with on the Clayface Splat attack set, because it was really cool. It was really awesome to get the information that I was able to receive from you guys, because it was awesome to then apply it to this review. So I hope that you guys will enjoy some of the little tweaks that I make from review to review to review until we nail down a format that everyone is a-okay with. So with that in mind, today we're going to be taking a look at a little bit of a smaller set than previously, just the Catwoman Catcycle chase. And with all that being said, ladies and gents, let's take a look at what is exactly inside. So here we have the full set assembled, and it is looking pretty awesome. In fact, I'd probably say that this is so far the biggest surprise out of all the different sets that I have put together, because I'm actually really blown away by how much I like this set. Now, typically speaking, I'm actually a bigger fan of the vehicular builds in the LEGO sets, but I'm actually sort of underwhelmed by the motorcycle, whereas this little building assembly is quite awesome. First and foremost, let's take a look at the minifigures in the set. So let's kick things off with the one and only, the boy wonder himself. It is Robin, and I have to say that he is probably, no, not probably, in my mind, he is the worst figure in this particular set. Now, that doesn't mean that he's a bad figure. He's still a fantastic figure. It's just that he is the worst of the bunch that are included in this particular set. So with that also being said, let's take a look at the minifigure itself. First and foremost, he does have a pretty awesome shiny cape, so that is fantastic. And I also do love the fact that the capes that they used for a lot of the LEGO Batman figurines have two different tones to them. So you have a shiny side, and then you have kind of a more matte finish side on the inside. It gives them almost two different textures, which is really cool because it just makes the capes that much more unique and cooler looking overall. The rest of the design is quite nice. Of course, it's the classic kind of underoos Robin, which some people might not be big fans of. Personally, I have to say I'm not such a big fan of that design. I'm much more so like the kind of Teen Titans looking Robin, where he looks a little bit more awesome in my personal opinion, kind of a little bit more like a special ops character. So that's just my personal preference. But if you like this design, I'm sure you would be a fan. I was very surprised by the fact that this figure did not actually include any accessories, like no batarang, no anything like that, which is sort of surprising. Plus, the fact that he has a belt painted onto his torso makes you think as to why did they not go on ahead and in the instructions tell you to use the spare piece that they have in this set from Batgirl as the actual tool belt piece like that. So that's kind of surprising. It does look a little bit awkward when you do place it on there, because he already has a printed on utility belt above that, so it seems like a little bit of overkill. But I just did want to point out the fact that it's kind of weird that they didn't go on ahead and use their new sculpted piece instead. Now, speaking of sculpted pieces, this is an absolutely awesome sculpted on glasses and hair piece together. I love that combination. But for those people that are concerned that if you remove the hair piece, do you not have any eyes? Like, is there just a mouth underneath? Nope. As you can see, there is an actual face printed on there as well. And if we rotate the expression, we get a completely different look available for Robin. So that's always awesome when you have two distinctly different expressions available on the actual figurines. We then move right along to the second best figurine in my personal opinion, and it is Batgirl, and she is absolutely fantastic looking. I love the amount of print work on these figures. I have to say that LEGO should really consider to try to have this many details on all their figures, because it is amazing. I know it's probably quite pricey to have the print work be this detailed and have two different tones for the legs and so on and so forth, but I just think it's so worth it. It really makes the figures feel very premium. Like the fact that you have little bootstraps printed on there, and just the extra little attention to detail for like the kneecaps or the boot itself. Just those outlines really bring the figure together quite nicely. I love the print work right there on the actual arms. That looks lovely. You do have additional print work available to you on the back of the figure as well, so that looks quite nice. Of course, as you can see, she is sporting the awesome utility belt in yellow, and she does come along with a spare utility belt. Additionally to that, in her hand, you might have noticed that she is currently holding on to a batarang. She does have an extra two of those, so that's really nice that you have two spare batarangs as well, so that is quite quite awesome awesome. There is some lovely print work on the arms as well, and you'll notice that of course the torso is quite well done also. Now what I love additionally to that is the fact that they did go on ahead and add this really cool piece onto the actual cowl that she wears to, of course, mimic the idea of Barbara Gordon's hair making its way into a ponytail and through the cowl. That is awesome. Really, really cool to see that, and I just love this actual cowl piece, just the way that it looks. I'd love to maybe even get another one of these and maybe carefully like shave off that peg and use it for like other designs, because I think it looks really, really, really nice overall. Now, additionally to that, we do have two expressions available. We have this much more kind of serious, I guess, expression, and then the lovely opposite to that is the smiling, happy expression available as well. So once again, really, really, really nicely done minifigure and super duper awesome looking. And then we're saving the best for last, without a doubt, because this Catwoman figure is awesome. The previous Catwoman figure that I got, I think it was also in a Catcycle chase set type thing, a little while back. I mean, actually, maybe that was a long while back. That set was also a pretty small set with a little motorcycle and such, and it was a similar idea of Batman chasing down Catwoman. But that Catwoman figure has nothing in comparison to this one. They did such an excellent job with this figure. I think it turned out tremendously well. There's only one little gripe that I have with it. First and foremost, just let's take a look at the positives, and that is the print work. It's just phenomenal. Look at that. Just the highlights on the back there look so cool. The way that they try to mimic the idea of like a vertebrae running down her spine, that looks awesome and terrific. I love the print work right here on the arms. That looks really cool. I just would have loved if this kind of pattern would have maybe transferred all the way down the side of the legs as well. I think that would have really looked awesome. They did a pretty good job though, even on the legs, printing down some more additional folds and such to give you the illusion of an actual costume. So that is pretty fantastic. And for something that is actually predominantly purple, they did a very good job of breaking up the color using silvers and blacks to break up the monotony of just one color. So that actually looks quite awesome. I do have to say that I think she's also the only character so far that we can get the purple utility belt with, so that's another really lovely touch. And in this set you do receive an additional purple belt plus an additional whip for her as well, so very cool that you get those spare bits included. Now here is my one gripe with the figure, and that is the cowl. The cowl itself actually I think it looks awesome and actually turned out quite nice. The only thing I would have done, personally speaking, is instead of having the green eyes painted onto here, I think it would have been really nice if instead of making this just hollow the way that they did, I would have put like a thin piece of plastic, or green plastic there, so that it would be like a translucent plastic, and then have her regular eyes underneath, so that when you put the cowl on, you would still have a similar effect, but you would see her actual eyes underneath the lenses. So I think that would have been such a lovely touch and would have made this one of my personal favorite figures ever. But that's just the tiny little element that I'm not too big of a fan of, because if as soon as you remove the actual cowl, it does look a little awkward. She looks more like some sort of a bug-like character, so that's just my personal opinion. Now, of course, with her, we do get an additional expression as well, so you have, again, a much more kind of angry or fierce expression. You don't get to see it very well, simply because most of the cowl covers up the expression, so that's a bit unfortunate as well. And again, I think had they made the cowl maybe translucent with the lens, then the expression would have come through a little bit more, because you would have an actual printed on eyes and eyebrows that would be able to achieve a little bit more of or I guess communicate more of the expression of the actual character. But again, that's just my personal opinion, and that is a very, very tiny flaw in this particular figurine. Rolling on in style is the actual Catwoman Catcycle, and this thing is pretty cool. It does feel a little bit kind of skeletal in its design. I know that oftentimes there is the issue of bikes being way oversized. Like I remember in the Lego movie, the Emmett bike that they built. Of course, in the movie it's pretty ginormous as well, so it kind of fits the design. But typically speaking, Lego bikes that are brick built are quite ginormous. They're a little too big to be a bike, especially when you start comparing them to brick built vehicles. You're like, what kind of bike is that? That bike is longer than a car. That makes no sense. So of course, if you compare it to, let's say, the store right here, they're about the same length. In fact, the bike is a little bit longer than it. So that definitely is still felt here, but it's not as bad. I think they did try to do a pretty good job of keeping it quite minimalistic. It has a little bit of a Technic vibe, at least for me personally, just the way that it's built because of all the kind of openings that you see in the bike. Like, it doesn't feel like a capsule or something that would be very aerodynamic. It feels very kind of haphazardly put together. So that's one of those things that is going to be a personal preference type element. Like, some people are going to love this design, and then I think many are probably going to be like, that feels a little incomplete. So I kind of would probably say that I'm somewhere in the middle. I like some components of the bike, especially kind of up until this point. Like, I like the front of the bike, but then I'm not too big of a fan of the way that the back of the bike is assembled. It feels a little basic and stale, but again, when you consider the price and everything else that you get in the set, this is definitely still awesome. The little exhaust right here, you know, like the typical heat dissipating, I guess, area of the bike would be somewhere around here. So they did a very good job with those. So you get those little pieces right here and on the opposite end, and those are printed on. So that's fantastic. This piece right here is also surprisingly an actually printed on element instead of being something that is a sticker. So sort of surprised by that. And I love how it has the cat ears above the speedometer. So again, kind of Catwoman branding. I guess she's been taking notes from Batman and been doing a pretty good job of branding her stuff as well. Now, as far as the way that the minifigure fits in there, it's actually pretty nicely, just like so. And I really do like the steering wheel kind of lowering down to meet the driver. So it looks pretty awesome once you have the actual character in place. And of course, if you want, you don't have to only have Catwoman on the cycle here. You could go on ahead and place Batgirl or Robin or any other of your standard size minifigures onto there as well. And then last but certainly not least, we have the store right here. Now, I think that if you really kind of look at the packaging, you'd probably think that most likely this is a case of where Catwoman would be robbing this place and Batgirl and Robin are obviously here to stop her. I don't know if that is actually the case though, because if we look at some of the elements available here, I actually think that this is Catwoman's store. I think that it is possible that in the Lego Batman movie, she's going to have a jewelry store. And the reason why I'm saying that is primarily due to the logo, because if you notice the logo up here is not just some diamonds and jewels, they are shaped like a Catwoman, or the Catwoman logo, I should say, the cat. And then you have like little whiskers right here. So that's the first sign. But then there's an additional element on the side right here where you'll notice that there is an actual search for a cat that has been lost. And you could totally tell that Selina obviously is very fond of cats. So maybe she put up that sign for a cat that has been lost. So I think that this is actually most likely Selina Kyle's store, which probably features some stolen jewelry because obviously she is a cat burglar. So with that in mind, what are the play features in this thing? Well, we have a couple of elements. First and foremost, I like the opening door, so that's really cool that you could go on ahead and actually use that. It does feel a little incomplete, of course, because there is no back to the store, so it's pretty much just the storefront that is available to us. But the little details that are there through the little jewels right here do look very nice, so that is definitely quite awesome. You also have this little trash can right here to work well with the idea that this is on the side of the road or maybe a building that is at the end of a block. So that's really cool. And then you have a street light available to you as well right here. And if you want, you could actually use this to lower it down and up. Catwoman is chasing maybe or being chased by Batman, by Batgirl and Robin. She could bump into this or maybe even have her like leap over this stuff. So it does give you a little bit of extra play value. I totally see many people saying like, that's just lame. That's not really a play feature. But to me, I have to say, considering the price of this set and the fact that we get 3 really awesome minifigures, a solid vehicle, nothing like exceptional about the vehicle, but a solid vehicle. And what I have to say, I'm very surprised by a really complete looking storefront. Like, it feels very nice. It's very minimalistic, but there's some sort of a charm to just how minimalistic and simple the build of this little building is. So there you guys have it. That is the review for the Catwoman Catcycle Chase. A pretty awesome set, all things considered. I think that it is one of those sets that is actually a pretty awesome value value proposition. Also one of the very, very few sets that is available in the Lego Batman movie lineup that does not actually feature Batman. So that's kind of unique, especially because it's a smaller set, yet it contains 3 distinctly different characters. So that is pretty awesome, to say the least. Now, what are we reviewing next? I know that I usually tease the next review. Well, not tease, I literally just tell you guys. And that will be this set right here, which is the Riddler Riddle Racer. Goodness gracious. As I always say, try saying that quickly many times. I'm really excited about this set because there's some really, really interesting characters in here, like really weird characters. Like Calendar Man is in this set, Magpie is in this set. What? How the heck did they get official releases? So I'll catch you guys, of course, in 2 days with this review. So definitely not tomorrow, the day after, tune in to check out the review for this set. I'm trying to stick to that schedule as best as I can. Once again, if you guys enjoyed today's review and you want to see the videos uploaded in the schedule that they are currently in, please click that like button. That's always highly appreciated. Of course, if you click that like button, it really does help me out a ton and lets me know that you want to see more of these reviews, and I'll try to do my best to continue with the schedule that I am going on right now. And yes, I'm still trying to find the Arkham Asylum set. A lot of people told me that it's also available at Toys R Us. I mean, I know it's a Toys R Us exclusive, but people told me it's Toys R Us and then check the Lego shop. So there's a Lego store like pretty far away from me. So I'm gonna try to go over there and see if they have it, but none of my Toys R Us's have it, at least not yet. If they have them in stock, I'll try to do my best to pick that up and review it as well. So I blabbered on way too long in this outro. My apologies. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Bye-bye, guys, and I'll see you later. Alligators.